So I've been using Lunar Client for the last 2.5 years. Originally when I got back into playing Minecraft in 2019 and really took a liking to playing high-pixel games like Bed Wars, I started on Vanilla, then moved to Badlion after a couple of months, and then a few months following that I moved to Lunar and I stayed there up until a couple of months ago. And Lunar is great, don't get me wrong, it has a big community of users and good mod support, but ultimately there are a few things with Lunar that I took issue with, which made me end up switching back over to Badlion Client. And I have 3 main positive attributes about Badlion Client which has kept me there and ultimately gives it the edge over Lunar Client in my opinion. And of these 3 things, the last is the most important, so make sure you stick around to the end of this video, I promise it won't be long. So, the first thing I noticed when switching back to Badlion Client is that it actually feels cleaner to use than Lunar Client, at least in my opinion. What I mean by this is that the experience is less clunky overall. The mod menus look similar to Lunar Client's, albeit, with a worse font, but it's organized much better now than it was in the past when the mods were disorganized and located on the left of your screen. It was a mess. But on top of that, something that I really took notice of when I switched back to Badlion was how much faster it loads compared to Lunar Client. Now this was a huge difference. Lunar Client takes up to a minute to load sometimes, and it has had issues where it stops responding or crashes, while Badlion is up and running within 10 to 15 seconds consistently without crashing. On top of that, I experienced a ton less glitches on Badlion, like the very annoying fail to connect glitch where you can't connect to a server via your multiplayer menu, and you have to, direct connect to a server using the server IP. This was really annoying and it would happen all the time on Lunar Client, and it has never happened on Badlion once. The second thing I have noticed about Badlion Client, which in my opinion makes it better than Lunar, is that you can consistently get higher frames on Badlion by an average of 20 to 40, and this is 20 to 40 frames more than you can get on Lunar with the exact same settings. Now, I have made sure to keep my settings the exact same when I tried to compare them when I switched, and some people have claimed the exact opposite, saying that Lunar gets more frames, but me personally, I have noticed the opposite. However, I would just recommend trying it for yourself and seeing which one gives you the most frames for your machine. No matter what though, this matters a lot because not everyone has a decent computer to run Minecraft, so when choosing a client, every single frame matters. Recently, a good friend of mine started playing Bed Wars and needed to choose a client to try, and I recommended Lunar. But the game kept crashing without reason, and they also experienced the glitch that I just mentioned about how they couldn't connect to different multiplayer servers, and overall Badlion gave them much more FPS and a faster startup time. So for these reasons, I now recommend Badlion Client to new players and those who don't have strong computers. Before I get to the final point, which again is really the most important for me, I just want to take 2 seconds to ask you to consider subbing if you're enjoying. I have many plans for tons more videos in the future and I'd just be super happy to have you be a part of my small channel. Now, on to the final and most important reason why I choose Badlion Client over Lunar, is because, for some reason which I don't have an answer to, Badlion Client's hit registration seems to be better than Lunar's, especially on Hypixel, which is where most people are playing. Now, before anyone jumps to conclusions about my internet being bad or unstable, I'm lucky that I have a very strong internet connection and I use Ethernet connection, so this should not be a problem. In fact, I'm also not the only one that's noticed this. I recently saw a video by the LA Steve, or maybe it's the Last Steve or the Lost Steve, I'm not sure how to pronounce it, but you might know who I'm talking about. And in this video, he mentions when he's trying Badlion Client that his hits feel really good. Now, this is something that I actually noticed well before watching this video because I switched to Badlion Client before seeing this video, but seeing this, it really confirms that other people have noticed the exact same thing, and it has me believing that the hits are in fact better, at least on Hypixel. Now, I don't have a concrete reason as to why this would be. Some people were saying that Lunar uses a custom Java for performance, which might affect the hit registration, and I'm not sure if this would actually have the same effect. People say it does, but I guess it's an explanation of some sort. All I know is that this difference is really only noticeable on Hypixel, and I don't really notice any difference in hit registration when playing on servers like my main club. That's all for today's video. Thanks for watching, guys.